everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to paint a watercolor piece while I share with you one of the oldest recorded Cinderella stories, and it's not what you might think. When you first Google oldest Cinderella story, most of the answers pull up the story of Rhodopis, a Greek courtesan who has her slipper taken by an eagle, which then drops it onto an Egyptian king's lap. But beyond this answer, I found this article that makes a compelling argument against the detailed version of this story being even 100 years old. I won't go into detail to save us some time, but I will add that though in the West Cinderella has had quite the following since its revision in 1697 by Charles Perrault, the article says, "The tale of the young heroine unjustly forced into servitude who becomes elevated to royalty was told for centuries before in China during the Tang Dynasty in the story of Ye Shen." This is the story I'm going to be sharing today. So, let's get started. The story I'll be reading to you is a translation of the written work Yuyang Satsu, which some say is translated to Miscellaneous Morsels from Yuyang. This story is by Cheng Shi Duan, written in AD 850 to 860, and please let me know if I mispronounce anything today. I'm just going to do my best with what is written in the stories. So the story I'm reading today was translated to English by Arthur Waley in 1947. There's also a children's book version of the story that's really good too, and you should totally check it out. There were some parts in this translation that didn't make a ton of sense, especially in the end, so I changed a few small details to help clarify things a bit, but you can check out the original translation in the description box below. Among the people of the South, there is a tale that before the Qin and Han dynasties, there was a cave master called Wu. The Aborigines called the place the Wu Cave. He married 2 wives, but one died. She had a daughter called Ye Shen, who from childhood was intelligent and good at making pottery on the wheel. Her father loved her. After some years, the father died, and she was ill-treated by her stepmother, who always made her collect firewood in dangerous places and draw water from deep pools. Ye Shen once got a fish about 2 inches long with red fins and golden eyes. She put it into a bowl of water. It grew bigger every day, and after she had changed the bowl several times, she could find no bowl big enough for it, so she threw it into her home's back pond. Whatever food was left over from meals, she would put into the water to feed it. When she came to the pond, the fish always exposed its head and pillowed it on the bank, but when anyone else came, it did not come out. The stepmother knew about this, but when she watched for it, it did not once appear. So she tricked the girl, saying, "Haven't you worked hard? I'm going to give you a new dress." She then made the girl change out of her tattered clothing. Afterward, she sent her to get water from another spring, and reckoning that it was several hundred leagues, the stepmother at her leisure put on her daughter's clothes, hid a sharp blade up her sleeve, and went to the pond. She called to the fish. The fish at once put its head out, and she chopped it off and killed it. The fish was now more than 10 feet long. She served it up, and it tasted twice as good as any ordinary fish. She hid the bones under the dunghill. The next day, when the girl came to the pond, no fish appeared. She howled with grief in the open countryside, and suddenly there appeared a man with his hair loose over his shoulders and coarse clothes. He came down from the sky. He consoled her, saying, "Don't howl. Your stepmother has killed the fish, and its bones are under the dung. You go back, take the fish's bones, and hide them in your room. Whatever you want, you have only to pray to them for it. It is bound to be granted." The girl followed his advice, and was able to provide herself with gold, pearls, dresses, and food whenever she wanted them. When the time came for the New Year festival, the stepmother and stepsister went, leaving the girl to keep watch over the fruit trees in the garden. She waited till the stepmother was some way off, and then went herself, wearing a cloak of stuff spun from kingfisher feathers and shoes of gold. Her stepsister recognized her and said to the stepmother, "That's very like my sister." The stepmother suspected the same thing. The girl heard this and went away in such a hurry that she lost one shoe. It was picked up by one of the people of the cave. When the stepmother got home, she found the girl asleep with her arms round one of the trees in the garden and thought no more about it. This cave was near to an island in the sea. On this island was a kingdom called Tohan. Its soldiers had subdued 20 or 30 other islands, and it had a coastline of several thousand leagues. The caveman sold the shoe in Tohan, and the ruler of Tohan got it. He told those about him to put it on, but it was an inch too small even for the one among them that had the smallest foot. He ordered all the women in his kingdom to try it on, but there was not one that it fit. It was light as down and made no noise even when treading on stone. The king of Tohan thought the caveman had got it unlawfully. He put him in prison and tortured him, but did not end up finding out where it had come from, so he threw him down at the wayside. Then they went everywhere through all the people's houses and arrested them. Once they came upon the Wu cave, they found the matching shoe. They arrested them and told the king of Tohan. He thought it strange, searched the inner rooms, and found a hidden Ye Shen. He made her put on the shoe, and it was a true fit. Ye Shen then came forward, wearing her cloak spun from halcyon feathers and her shoes. She was as beautiful as a heavenly being. She now began to render service to the king, and he took the fish bones in Ye Shen and brought them back to his country. The stepmother and stepsister were shortly afterwards struck by flying stones and died. The cave people were sorry for them and buried them in a stone pit which was called the Tomb of the Distressed Women. The men of the cave made mating offerings there. Any girl they prayed for, they got. The king of Tohan, when he got back to his kingdom, made Ye Shen his chief wife. The first year the king was very greedy, and by his prayers to the fish bones got treasures and jade without limit. Next year there was no response, so the king buried the fish bones on the seashore. He covered them with 100 bushels of pearls and bordered them with gold. Later there was a mutiny of some soldiers who had been conscripted, and their general opened a hiding place in order to make better provision for his army, but there was nothing there. Everything had washed away by the tide. And that's the story of Ye Shen, one of the oldest recorded known Cinderella stories. What do you guys think? I wish I could have known a little more about what happens to Ye Shen in the end, and I'm not sure what to think about the king. But the story was really cool to read, and I had a lot of fun learning about it. I hope I helped you feel inspired today. I learned a lot doing research for this video, and I hope I was able to teach you something as well. Let me know if you have any thoughts or comments, or if there's anything that I misread or misunderstood. I would love to learn more about this. If you had fun with me today, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next Saturday for the next one. Bye!